Let's head overseas now, and on the eve of the Florida primary, the former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney has opened up a 15-point lead over his main rival, the former House Speaker Newt Gingrich.
Florida is the first big state in the bruising Republican nomination contest and is seen as a must-win for the Romney campaign after a thumping loss in South Carolina. North America correspondent Craig McMurtry is in Tampa.
We're a day out from the Florida primary, and thanks to a massive advertising campaign, much of it negative, and comprehensively outspending Newt Gingrich, Mitt Romney finds himself with a double-digit lead. Joining me is political scientist and Professor Susan McManus from the University of South Florida. Susan, what accounts for this massive turnaround in Mitt Romney's favour here in Florida?
Well, first of all, Florida is very, very different from South Carolina. We're much more diverse. We have much more diverse racial and ethnic makeup, large Hispanic population, much more of a mixture in religion, age, everything else. We're not South Carolina. And what happened was Gingrich brought momentum in here, but it quickly dissipated with two subpar debate performances, and in between those, a lot of polls showing that Newt Gingrich would not fare as well against President Obama as would Mitt Romney.
Is that electability issue really, really important for the people of Florida, for the registered Republicans here?
Absolutely, because Florida Republicans want more than anything else to recapture the White House, and they full well know that if you don't win Florida as a Republican, you're not going to win the White House. And that's why Florida is such an important symbol outside of this state, is because Republicans in other parts of the country know that as Florida goes, so goes the nation. And for Republicans to win here, it's got to be somebody that can win Florida.
By most estimates, the Romney campaign has outspent the Gingrich campaign, something of the order of 5-1.
There certainly has been an ad warfare, but that's only part of the puzzle. There certainly has been a lot of ads, but that's only a piece of the puzzle, because the debates were watched by over 50% of the Republicans who were going to vote, and they had a really big impact on pushing opinion away from Gingrich and towards Romney. But without question, the Romney ads and the Super PAC ads run by Romney Super PAC are much better and more effective than the ones that are run by Gingrich.
And is it all about attacking the baggage, the so-called Gingrich baggage?
Well, that was in every election, the first ad sets the frame and you build on it. And the first ad here against Gingrich created the concept of baggage, and it has been built upon, and a lot of people have said that when they've been interviewed, they use that and coined that term.
What's the level of interest here in Florida in this primary contest?
A lot of people are interested here. Over 51% voted in 2008 in the presidential preference primary. I think it will well exceed that this time. And
in terms of the convention, the importance of Florida, the Republican convention is going to be here in Florida in a few months. Is there a concern that because the campaign has become so personal and so bitter between the two men, that somehow that could damage the party's standing here?
A lot of Republicans worry about that, including former Governor Jeb Bush and current Governor Rick Scott, and they've asked the candidates and their PACs and whatever else to tone it down. But on the other hand, polls out show that in spite of all this, that Romney still matches up really well with President Obama. So there's also the other school of thought that says it's better to have a contentious primary because it makes you a better general election candidate.
And what's your assessment now? We're on the eve of primary day. Who wins this?
It looks like Romney, and I think what Gingrich is hoping for is a better than expected performance in light of the polls that are showing heading into the election a double-digit lead by Romney.
And finally, throwing forward after Florida, we've got other contests in places like Nevada, Colorado, Arizona, Michigan in the month of February. How important is Florida for Mitt Romney in this situation in terms of setting up the rest of his campaign?
Romney really needs a big win here because he performed less than expected in other places, and the loss in South Carolina was not expected and really looked bad for the Romney campaign. But if he leaves Florida, which is a bigger prize by far, bigger than all the other three states that have come ahead of us put together, then he goes on with what a lot of people think is an unstoppable momentum. But of course, Newt Gingrich would argue vehemently against that.